Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm not going to be on here that long, but I just wanted to come on here and do a check-in. I know I've been really busy. I haven't did my lives as much, but this is a message that has been sitting heavy on my heart for this week. But before I get into that, I hope that your week has been the best that it could be. And we can't worry about what happened yesterday or this week or what didn't get done that we wanted to get done, so we can only move forward from here and now and try to do the best that we can from here forward and plan our time accordingly. Don't forget to follow me here on Facebook or Instagram, Become Your C, TikTok, BYC Become Your C. You can go to YouTube and follow me and see all my previous videos, BYC Become Your C. Also visit me on my website, www.becomeyourc.com. And if you're interested in learning about the holistic approach to mental health, dealing with the chakras, you can feel free to message me as well. If you're struggling with mental health issues and or everyday life and just trying to find motivation, you can feel free to message me as well. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're at any point that you feel like life is overwhelming and you contemplating suicide or thinking that's an option, please don't allow those thoughts to overtake you. I know life can get overwhelming, but you deserve to be here. You have a right to be here. You have a gift that the world needs. Please feel free to reach out to those people. The number is 1-800-273-8255. You could text them at 988, or you can visit them on their website, 988lifeline.org. We need you here, and I get it. Life is hectic and heavy, but there are options, and you need to fight for your life because you are the light the world needs. So, like I said, I won't be on here long. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. So, do we have too much on our plate? And it simply means is that we putting too much on us that we can handle, and it's causing and affecting our lives like drastically. So a lot of times, we go through life and we do things, right? We may join groups and we have to work and we have children and do a whole bunch of other things. And our plate is already full, but then we start adding more to it. And before we know it, we start becoming overwhelmed. And then you got to ask yourself questions like, is my plate too full? And if it is, how do I go about making sure that it stays balanced? And I think one of the things that we do is that we say yes to things before we get a chance to sit down and really think about it, because we want to make people happy, people please, and once we say yes to something, we feel obligated to it. But after we think about it, we know that we don't have the time or the energy to commit to it, but we go through with it as anyway because we don't want to disappoint other people, but in turn we're disappointing ourselves. And so once we commit to this obligation and we feel that we have, once it's all said and done with, we feel like we disappointed ourselves, and that's now you're taking on something that pushes something else aside. I think a lot of times we may be interested in stuff, and I had to do this with myself as well. We want to do so much, right? We want to give back so much. We want to be involved in so much. Is that something that we need to do, that we ought to do, get pushed to the back burner because we're trying to do so much. And so what happens is we start getting overwhelmed. And I think from when we're young, we're taught to people please, like you got to make other people happy. And that's true. I think in life in general, like what I believe is that we were put here on this earth to serve others, and that is a good thing, but not at the expense of yourself. You have to ultimately take care of yourself first, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your physical health, because if you don't, then you won't be of good use to yourself or others. So it's important to know the balance in between that. And when we choose to do things, make sure that they are aligned with how we want life to go and who we are as a person. Like, it's nice to want to help out, it's nice to service other people, but if you know that you already have a full plate and taking on something else will cause more stress, then maybe it's not the time to do that. And you can kindly say, like, hey, um, thank you for your offer, but at this time, I honestly don't have the time to do it. And people may beg you and be like, please, but knowing what it will do to your mental state, you have to put that first. Um, and people don't understand because they're just trying to feel like a role, but you know yourself. And I know that you want to help, but at the end of the day, is that if you have your plate and it's about to overflow already, don't add more onto it. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Failure for yourself, because the more things you put onto yourself, um, definitely something else that you want to work on will be pushed onto the back burner. Now you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you are feeling let down. You're letting yourself down because you're not able to have time to commit to what you truly want to do. Um, Depression can happen as a result of putting too much on your plate. Depression comes when we feel so overwhelmed, right? It's a period of sadness, and we all get sad from time to time, but depression is an increased period of sadness. And what happens is if when we go overwhelmed and we get stressed in life, and then we don't do those things, we don't make time for those things that bring us happiness and joy, depression starts seep in. We don't find any value in life. We don't find um, good times in life. We don't appreciate life because we are overwhelmed. We feel like there's nothing in life. We're just doing the same thing day in and day out. That's why it's important to balance life. Yes, we have to work and we have to do certain things, but we need to fit in the space for those things that we know that we're supposed to do, our purpose, and have time to enjoy them. When we don't, we'll start getting depressed and feeling like life is not worth it, and then we start thinking negative thoughts. That's why it's important to be good to yourself too. Like, yes, it's very important to be good to others, but you have to give, and you have to give to yourself. And this is why I say, like, always take 30 minutes at least to yourself every day, and whatever you need to do for yourself. Like for me, working out in the morning, writing and reading, that gives me 30 to 40 minutes every day to start my day, and then I do a refresher at night. The last couple of months, I've been doing it at night, writing. I have to get back to the reading part, and that's starting today, because I found myself in the same boat as well, taking that time out. And then that's like daily goals, and you could also set yourself weekly goals that you're going to do for yourself, and you're going to stick to it. Yesterday, I was contemplating, like, once a week I take a bath and do a face mask, and that's something for myself that I give back to myself, that showing myself that I care. And I was so busy yesterday, by the time I got in it was late, and I'm like, you know what, forget it. But then I said, no, if I can make time for everything else, I can take that 30 minutes for myself. So you must, for your own sanity, take time for yourself every day. And I know you're busy, and I know you got a lot of things going on, but you have to fit it in. And this may require you to go to bed a little bit early or get up a little bit early. It doesn't have to be a big thing, right? If you can't give the full 30 minutes at once, break it up throughout the day, but you must, for yourself, for your sake, to give yourself at least 30 minutes a day. So please do that. Please find a way to fit that in, and take time today, if you have it, to see how you're going to do that. And that's another thing that I'm going to do today as well. I'm going to make myself a calendar to make sure that I am doing things every day that adhere to my growth and that are aligned with my goals. And this is by removing some things from my plate that is making it too full. Also, you'll get burnt out if you're doing too many things, right? Again, we all have to work, right? We have to pay bills. We are committed to, right? But you don't want to get to the point of being burnt out, because when you're burnt out, you have no energy to do anything. Everything is going to start lacking when you get burnt out. And we do this because, yes, like the economy is horrible right now. The cost of living is rising, and people trying to figure out how to put food on their table and just the bare necessities. So how do you prevent burnout from that? That's why I said it's important to make time for yourself every day. You gotta really sit down. And I've been doing this. You gotta sit down and figure out your goals, and the goals will be important because it's going to help you prioritize. It's going to help you balance that plate. Where's your life now? Where do you want it to be, and how do you get there? And this is going to take some rearranging. This is going to take some growth on your part. This is going to require a change, because where you're at right now and where you want to be, you're going to have to change some things, because where you're at now, like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, is not getting you where you need to be. So you're going to have to rearrange some things, and this is going to require some pulling and tugging on your part. We're used to being where we are, so we can't imagine how life is going to be where we want to be. It's going to require you to sit down and jot some things down, and jotting things down help you see everything for how it is, and then you're going to have to execute them. And don't try to do everything all at once. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves. Like, we got to do this, and I do this to myself too. We have to accomplish all these goals immediately. No. Start small and then work your way up. If there is something that you want to do now, do it and figure out a way to get it done. I always talk about meditation, but it definitely helps you gain focus and start putting together things in your mind. We don't understand how powerful our minds are when we sit down and take time to listen to our thoughts. And then we can gather information and then put things together. Reach out for help when necessary. There are resources out there. You don't have to do it alone. Just make sure you do that for yourself. I already spoke about this briefly. We don't have enough time to do the things that we enjoy because we have too much things on our plate. And this is going to bring me to my next thing, is that if we don't have enough time to do things that we enjoy, so we need to look at our plate. What do we have on there currently, right? And what can we remove? No, maybe we have to work, so we can't remove that. But how can we incorporate everything else? And breaking it down to 3 categories. What needs to be done, what do we want to do, and what can be done. And you got to be realistic with yourself. You want to be a millionaire. Is that realistic? Yeah, it can happen. But if you want to be a millionaire, how are you going to get there? How are you going to plan accordingly? You're going to have to take some things off your plate. You're going to have to look at life differently. When we want goals that are different from where we are now, life is never going to look the same. And I think that's okay. But I think that we need to really be honest with ourselves and our efforts as well. It's a lot of us want more things and different things, but we're not pushing ourselves the way that we need to be. And I get it. There are a lot of people that suffer from mental health issues, and it keeps us stagnant to where we're at. It keeps us stuck. And this is why it's important to have daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, because what this does is forces us to have consistency, and it forces us to stick to a pattern. And once we do one thing, right, we commit to that over time, it becomes habitual, and we don't have to think about it. This is how we get to the larger goals. So set those goals up for yourself. What needs to be done is that, yes, you need to sit down, you need to meditate, you need to set these goals. But what needs to be done in your life right now is figuring out where you are and where you want to be, and then how to get there. And it's all about planning as well. Some things can't be changed right now, and I get it, but you gotta start looking at things differently. If your plate has too much on it, are those things that are on your plate right now things that bring you enjoyment? Are they nourishing you? Are they aligned with yourself and your higher self and your goals? If they are not, then you have to kindly remove them. And maybe it might hurt other people. Maybe it may hurt you momentarily. And I say this because I think a lot of us, we may be doing things to please other people or to put on this appearance, and they're not aligning. I say aligning with who we are, but our purpose. Yes, we need to make a living and keep a roof over our head, and we need to do that. But when we're not doing things aligned with our purpose, everything is always going to be messy. It's not going to fit right. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to cause us stress. When we start walking the path of our purpose, that's when things will start to fall in place. And I've been noticing that over the last couple of weeks. Is like I'm constantly, every day, I'm always asking what my purpose is. Am I on the right path? And I always get this confirmation from people that I am. And so in order to make sure that your plate, good morning Tyrone, to make sure that your plate is filled with things that are going to help you become who you need to be for yourself in the world, you're going to have to remove some of those things, and you may have to start from a fresh plate. And I think this is the hardest part, is because maybe we're doing things that kind of temporarily bring us peace and happiness, but we know that won't last for a long time, and we're afraid to empty our plate because we don't know if we can fill it. But trust me, life is full of opportunity and possibilities. We don't even know the best version of ourselves because we only know this version of ourselves. We know the version that we used to be. And I think we're afraid to become who we need to be because this person that we know right now feels so comfortable. But we're meant for so much more. We're full of greatness. We don't even know our full potential because we haven't pushed ourselves. Because again, we're so overwhelmed, we're so stressed, our plate is too full of things that are not aligned with who we are. So how do we go about making sure that we are filling ourselves up with things that are going to sustain us, that are going to give us energy, that are going to give us power? We got to make a choice every day to be committed to ourselves first. And we gotta put ourselves first, no matter what is going on in the world. And I get it, we're stressed, and I'm learning this. Stress will cause our bodies to break down. This week alone, I had a sinus infection. I felt weak because I was doing too much. So now for me, I'm forcing myself to sit down and figuring out how can I fill my plate with things that are going to push me to my limit and make me become who I need to be and do diligence for my purpose in the world. And that is by rearranging and emptying my plate and putting things on there that I know that is going to help me. And that's what you ought to do as well. Because what happens is if our bodies start breaking down and we don't have the strength that we need to get out there and do those things, then everything else suffers from a result of us being too stressed, too overwhelmed, too overworked, too burnt out. And in the beginning, when you start to change things, it's going to look chaotic. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like this is not me because you're not used to it. And so once you do things over time, it becomes consistent. You make it a commitment. It becomes a habit. it becomes a part of who you are. And once you get to this next level of who you are, then the next level after that is going to require a different version of yourself. And that is okay. That's what I always talk about. That's what when I made my company, life is about self-discovery and growth. And we are going to constantly be growing and learning and discovering new. We don't even know the best version of ourselves yet. We don't. Everything that happens in our life is helping us to become more of who we are. And it's learning. When you start to learn about yourself, and then you learn what you like and don't like, and then you try to align yourself and fill your plate up with things that are going to help you become the best version of yourself. And this is going to have to, it's going to change. You're going to have to change your thought process. Change the way that you navigate through the world. Change the way that you look at the world. Some of the foods that you eat, right? If you're trying to become the best version of yourself, like for me, I'm going to use this as an example. I'm trying to train for a 5K. I have gained some pounds over the last couple of years. I have started training. It's hard. What will make it easier if I lost some weight? I know that. So what can I do to lose weight? I have to change the way that I look at things. I got to change my habits. And that's where we get stuck in. Maybe our plate is full and we know we need to empty it, but we're afraid that we'll go hungry if we don't keep things on top of it. But those things that we could refill it with will sustain us longer. But we are afraid to go hungry. But if anyone knows, I'm going to throw this in here about fasting. If you ever fasted, right, yes, momentarily you'll get hungry. But when we fast long enough, we gain clarity. Our mind becomes open. We can think better. So think of the benefits that you'll have when you empty your plate and start filling it up with things that will give you the energy you need, give you the strength that you need to become the best version of yourself. I have a couple more points and then I'm going to let y'all go for the day. So that's basically most of it. I wanted to share that information with you guys because this week for me has been an eye-opener and a lesson of where I want to be with my own life and how can I get there, and why do I keep doing this? And we all do this to ourselves. We take on so many things that we forget who we are. We take on so many things that a lot of things, again, it gets pushed to the back burner. Like I know for myself, my own business is getting pushed to the back burner. My health is getting pushed back to the back burner because I'm trying to, do something. But sometimes we just need to sit down and we need to listen to our inner voice and listen to God, listen to our ancestors, listen to the universe. And maybe, what we're going to fill our plate up with, someone else may not like. And we're still trying to serve other people with the food that we have on our plate now. And we're afraid that once we change our recipes and fill our plate up with this more nutritious meal, that people won't enjoy that. But we can't live our life for other people. We got to live our life for ourselves, and we got to be able to bring ourselves joy. I always tell people that life is very short and it's limited, and we need to start living and not just existing. A lot of us are doing things day in and day out, and it's not bringing us joy. We're just doing things just because it's a routine, and we become robotic in it, and then that's not how life is supposed to be. A lot of us never even seen the outside of where we are because we're so stuck. And I want people to get to the point where they discover who they really are and become the best version of themselves, so they can start to see themselves, start to really know who they are, to love on themselves. This is going to start with you. So are you ready to clear your plate and fill it with things that you know that are going to bring nourishment and that are going to change the way that you see food, and try to test out your palate, right? How do we know we don't like something? How do we know that the things that we want to do but are afraid to do is not going to entice our sight? Like, we got to think outside of the box, and we got to stop limiting ourselves to what we see in front of us now. There is so much more to life if we just give ourselves a chance. So are you ready to clear out your plate so that you can have a chance at experience what a buffet tastes like? So that is as much as I have for you. I appreciate everyone that watches. Please share, because this may connect with someone. I know that life is hectic, and I don't know what's going on in your life right now, and I don't know what you have on your plate, but make sure you're taking care of yourself, your mental, your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, because those things aligned will help you become the best version of ourselves. If one is lacking, the others will lack. Take time for yourself every day. Take time today to plan out accordingly. If you need to take some things off your plate, please do. When you put too much pressure on yourself and too much stress, it causes your body to break down. It can cause a heart attack, it can cause stroke. We need the best version of yourself. You need the best version of yourself. You gotta love on yourself. And part of loving on yourself is knowing when to say, hey, I can't. Knowing when to say, hey, I need to stop. Knowing when to say, I need rest. So, make sure every day you're taking time for yourself. Make sure every day you're pouring into yourself. You're loving on yourself. Make sure every day you're being honest with yourself. Growth is a part. In order to grow, you have to be honest with yourself. No, you are not perfect. No, we don't always have the right answers. No, we don't always say the right things. No, we don't always do the right things. Make sure you take time every day with yourself so that you can become that best version of yourself. You owe it to yourself. And no matter what you have done and no matter the mistakes that you made, it's okay. It's all a part of the process. You are worthy. You are valuable. You deserve to be here. You have gifts that need to be given. You are uniquely made yourself, and there is only one version of you, and only you can birth the gifts that have been given to you. So what are you waiting for? I know you're afraid, because I am afraid. I've been afraid, but it's time to start living before we leave. We all owe it to ourselves to experience true happiness, true peace, true serenity. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to share this live. All my links are down in the description. Again, if you feel suicidal, make sure you reach out to those people that can help you. Take time today, and remember, fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Until next time.